Okay, so we're just going to have a little bit of talk about setting up your cooking sessions and trying to get the best out of those cooking sessions. So I have a 5-step plan for you to be able to plan and prepare for the cooking sessions with the children in primary schools. First step is health and safety. There are a couple of things that we just need to consider before we go and deliver any cooking session. Firstly, checking with the school to see if any of the children have got any food allergies, so checking with teacher, making sure you're aware of those before you start handling or preparing any food with the children. The second thing is a risk assessment, so just making sure that the area that you're working in is safe, whether it's the hall, classroom, or you may have access to a demonstration kitchen. So if you have that, then there may be additional things that you might need to think of with regard to safety for the children. Step 2, food and equipment preparation. Before you start, probably in the weeks prior to the cooking session, you just need to start to think about what ingredients you'll be bringing in, what equipment you might need, what facilities you might need for that session. So do you need the hall? Do you need a kitchen? There's only 2 recipes that require a kitchen in some capacity, so you'll need to be melting something in a microwave at one point, and potentially if you've got access to another, then you'll need that. So writing a list of the ingredients that you need way in advance would be an advantage, seeing which ones the children could bring in, and also having a contingency so that if they don't bring in those ingredients, that you've got a backup plan and can still continue with the lesson. Step 3, room setup. This is quite a big one, making sure you're there in plenty of time so that you can set up the room before your class. What you'll need in the room is a demonstration area, so you'll be demonstrating the recipe to the children. They'll need to be sitting around in front of that area, so just making sure that there's some clear space. Setting up tables for group work, and making sure there's a washing up area. The children are going to get sticky and they'll have dirty hands, and they'll need to regularly go and wash up and wash their hands as well. So making sure that you've got an area within the room for that. Step 4, lesson structure. Just wanted to give you a little bit of guidance about how you might structure the lesson. Obviously, you'll have approximately an hour, but in some circumstances you might have less, sometimes you might have a little bit more. But the basic structure of the lesson would be gathering together at the beginning, talking about the ingredients. You might be using tomatoes. You might want to discuss where they've been grown, what kind of season you might receive those in, and whether them in the shops. Strawberries is a great example. So talking about seasonality and where food comes from. Then you might talk about the nutrition aspect of the recipe. So you could put the ingredients you're using into the food groups, get the kids to really engage, ask them lots of questions. So where did the egg come from? Which food group does it go into? So we have 5-10 minutes discussion about the recipe, making sure they've all washed their hands, making sure you've got all their health and safety sorted before they start any preparation. Then you'll need to demonstrate the recipe. Some of them are more complex than others. Most of them are quite simple, and you'll be able to demonstrate the whole recipe at once, and then they'll be able to go and do it themselves. There is one recipe though that you might need to split that up. So you'll demonstrate part of it, they'll go off and do that part, and then they'll come back again and you'll continue with it. So you do need that demonstration area to keep coming back to. You'll need to split them into groups, plan that beforehand. It may be that half the class is going to be doing a non-cook activity and half of them are going to be doing the cooking activity. It may be that some of them are doing part of the recipe and another group are doing another part of the recipe, then you bring it together at the end. It will depend on what the recipe is. And when you look at the other videos, when I'm going through each of those, then I'll explain that as we go along with that. Then after they've prepared their food, you'll be coming back, you'll be tasting, you'll be going through how the food's changed, make sure that we're talking about what does the food look like before you prepared it, what cooking skills have you used. So the teacher's going to want to know what are the outcomes of the lesson. So did you use a particular chopping skill or a whisking skill? So discuss those sorts of things with the children, and then the tasting. They love that. And if you're going to be taking the food home, again, we need to come to the health and safety aspect again. Just remembering that if we're preparing any food within the lessons that the children are going to take home, that it needs to be stored correctly, and that there's plenty of space for you to be able to do that. And then step 5, engaging the children. This is the most important part of the lesson, making it fun for them, making sure that you're relating ingredients to things that they might have at home. Timers are always a good thing to use in cooking lessons. It's going to be quite structured, and then you need to know kind of what time they've got to do a certain cooking skill or prepare a certain ingredient. So if you have a timer, set it for the 5 minutes, and when that rings off, then that's a good way to progress through the lesson. And then reward for creativity, teamwork, food skills, because if they're working in groups, they may have different tasks, and you're going to want them all to be involved and get as much out of the session as they can. So if you can put the groups into teams or something like that and reward them for that, then that will make the session more fun for them and more engaging. So that's it for the food preparation and the cooking lesson preparation, and there's more videos on each of the individual lessons.